Hey, how's it going? We haven't done this in a little while, have we? In case you're not aware, September 14th, 2001 was the original release date of the GameCube, and I believe a few months later in November, it came over here to the United States. The GameCube is one of my favorite consoles ever, and not just because of nostalgia. I think it just has a fantastic library of games from third-party developers, licensed games, Nintendo's own properties, even new experimental stuff they decided to do. It was pretty fantastic, and pretty much all the games that you're going to see listed here I at least enjoyed a little bit, which is why I kind of have to go into this tier list saying, remember context here. All of these games are at least a little bit fun. Me putting a game in the F tier doesn't mean I think it's like shit or horrible or doesn't deserve to be played or enjoyed. It's just worse than the ones that are above it, in my opinion. And again, this is just an opinion. If you want an objective way to judge game quality, go on Metacritic. Look up sales numbers. I don't fucking know. Let's start off real topical. I think we'll start off with Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2, which are both games that I have very fond memories with. I remember my friends and I would always come home after school. We would spend the night at each other's houses, and we would like stay up until 3 in the morning playing these games. I'm not too great at them, but I do have a friend who knows all of the strats and how to like cheese every level, and still does. It's pretty amazing. But these games have fantastic music, fantastic presentation. It seems really simplistic, but it's the sort of thing where it's easy to learn, hard to master. And it's really fun revisiting both of these games. I do think 2 is the slightly better experience over 1, just because it has a few more mini games and a few quality of life changes from what I remember. But I do think both of them belong on the same tier, if only with Monkey Ball 2 a little bit ahead. Pokémon Channel is a game that is only on this list because I played it when I was younger. If I were to go back and play it now, I imagine I would be bored out of my skull, sitting there watching the same little cartoon over and over again, trying to collect, what is it, like money, trading cards in the game? I don't fucking remember. It actually kind of reminds me of those old Game Boy Advance cartridges where you could get like a full episode or 2 of the Pokemon TV show on your Game Boy. There's more than just watching TV though. You can kind of take Pikachu outside and you can, walk around with him, take him to different little habitats of different Pokemon and whatnot, which is fun. It's amusing at least. And back when I was younger, any little tidbit of 3D Pokemon I could get in a video game was pretty significant for me, but even still, it's such a non-video game. I think this game could have a pretty interesting sequel where they package like 5 or 6 seasons of the Pokemon TV show into the game, and then just have extra auxiliary shit for you to do, like wandering outside habitats, collecting cards, that sort of thing. Well, I want to spend money on games that actually play like video games. I haven't played the original Spider-Man game on GameCube in a very long time, which is kind of unfortunate. It has both Tobey Maguire and Bruce Campbell doing voices in it, which both positives in my book. I remember it kind of playing like how the Batman Arkham games would go on to play, having like the 3D combat, a little bit of stealth mixed in. You can kind of web around the city, flying around, kind of like how you can in the new Spider-Man games. For what it was, I think it was pretty innovative, but honestly, the fact that I can't remember too many distinct things about it means it probably should go pretty low. I'm probably going to put it in the D tier for now, and we'll reassess based on where other games go. There is no reason why Luigi's Mansion should exist, and that's why I fucking love it. For all intents and purposes, Super Mario Sunshine should have been the launch title for the GameCube, but it wasn't, and they packaged in this weird, slow-moving Luigi 3D exploration adventure game, Ghostbusters. What? But they did it so well, and I played it again recently, and it's so good. Every aspect of the game, from the presentation to the gameplay, all of it just kind of meshes together so well, and it's so unique. I think this is the sort of game that could really only exist in this era of graphics. Like, the muted colors, and the fact that everything is just kind of really low res and low poly is actually kind of helps. I feel like future Luigi's Mansion games are just a little bit too colorful. I know how to beat this game from front to back, and I'd be lying to myself if I didn't put it up in S tier just because it was amazing back when I first played it, and still amazing now. Star Wars games were always a pretty big part of my childhood. I played the original Battlefront on our old Dell desktop tower. That thing ran like shit, and I still loved it though. These two games though are kind of little puzzle adventure 3D platformer situations. I think I did like number 2 better than number 1 just because I liked the original trilogy of movies more than I liked the prequels, and I remember a certain character customization feature in the sequel, which was really fun. God, I have so many fond memories of playing co-op in this game, and also just running around killing people in the Mos Eisley Cantina. I think I'll put them both in C tier for now, because I don't think the gameplay between the two of them differs enough where I can easily say, this one belongs down in D, or Star Wars 2 belongs up in B. I think we'll just kind of set them there in the middle for now. Let's rev it up with Crazy Taxi! This game is such a fucking product of the early 2000s, and it's kind of fucking amazing. If you haven't played Crazy Taxi before, it was this old arcade game that eventually came to, you know, GameCube, Xbox, PS2. You basically pick people up. You're driving around really fast in this town. You're picking people up, driving them to the nearest Pizza Hut or the fucking KFC or the Levi's store. Meanwhile, this fucking early 2000s punk rock is playing in your ears. It's such a fucking gem of the time period. That being said, I don't know how much I would come back to play this game, because after you play 2 or 3 rounds of it, you kind of get the feeling for the rest of the game, as is expected with an arcade port. You know, you just hear that, and you know exactly what you're about to get yourself into. I think it belongs in C tier because it sticks out more in my head than the original Spider-Man game did, but I don't have as many fond memories playing it as I do these two. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance is a Fire Emblem game, which means I enjoy the gameplay. I enjoy the kind of tactical grid-style movement and everything. The animations look pretty good for the time. I gotta say, I do prefer the pixelated graphics, though. It has a pretty interesting storyline. A lot of the characters are pretty memorable for me. Ike, obviously, if you've ever played Smash, you know who Ike is. My main pet peeve with the game is that the enemy phase takes so fucking long. It's like, you move all your units, right? And then it just switches over to the enemy turn. And it's just, it takes forever. I wish there were a few settings you could tweak to move enemy speed, make it faster, or skip combat animations on enemy phase. I don't know. I think Path of Radiance belongs in B tier. Definitely a good game, and definitely one worth playing if you're into strategy RPGs, but I don't know. Be aware of some of the faults that it's going to have. Oh god. This is going to be placed unrealistically high. This collection of Namco arcade games goes in B tier, above Path of Radiance. Listen, it has the best version of Galaga ever fucking made. It's amazing how much Galaga arrangement keeps the same but also changes. It's got new ship upgrades, new visuals, it's got great new music. The GameCube controller is fantastic for these like single button arcade ports. But I just don't play any of the rest of them. The Pac-Man ones, or the Dig Dug, or the Pole Position, I just don't care. Were these games ever really that good? Or did I just play them when I was younger and I'm like blind to the idea that they could be bad? I fucking love these two games so much. I was a big SpongeBob fan growing up. Still am. I don't know how often they're putting out new episodes of it, but some of those episodes back from when I was younger are still pretty fucking funny. And it's pretty amazing to me that these two games are licensed games, but they're still like really good 3D platformers. Like, they're both really good collectathon 3D platformers. They run off the same engine, and generally, I don't think there are too many differences between them. You can play as Sandy in Battle for Bikini Bottom, and there's a specific upgrade system where you can unlock new moves and shit with the movie game But I think I gotta give it to Battle for Bikini Bottom as the better game, just because I've played through the entirety of that game so many times, honestly, even recently with a friend, and we just stayed up until like 4 in the morning. That shit never fucking gets old, dude. And Battle for Bikini Bottom got a remake, so, I mean, it's pretty widely available now, if you have any modern consoles. I don't really know exactly what to say about Mario Golf. It's very, very straightforward. If you've played one Mario Golf game, you've pretty much played all of them. I know some of the recent ones have added some new gimmicks, like the new one on Switch has the mode where you can kind of run around with the ball and all that, which seems fun. I didn't really buy it just because I didn't have much of an interest, because, I mean, if I want to play Mario Golf, I'll just play this one. But I remember the music being pretty good. Graphics weren't bad or anything. Some of the animations were pretty funny. I do vividly remember the intro animation to this game, though, with Wario and Waluigi. But I'd say I'd probably come back to this game less frequently than I would anything in C tier. So it goes down in D, unfortunately. Still fun, though. I would actually like to get together with some people and play this soon. Double Dash is my favorite iteration of Mario Kart, bar none. I might have put more hours into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch just because it's more easily available to me, but nothing beats the gameplay of Double Dash, honestly. The whole pair-up kart mechanic is so great. I loved the individual items that each character had unique to them. A lot of the courses were really memorable, like Baby Park. Maybe not for the best reasons, but even still. Wario's Coliseum was fantastic. And they had a stage in the shape of a giant GameCube. Fuck. So great. It doesn't necessarily hold up to scrutiny as well as Luigi's Mansion does, but God, this makes me want to go back and play it again right now. Is it weird that Pikmin scared me as a kid? It like gave me anxiety back before I even knew what anxiety was. I wasn't used to games with time limits on them to like complete certain objectives, so it was games like this and Majora's Mask that like got me like really freaked out, and I was actually really nervous to return to them. I think Pikmin is a fantastic idea. I'm really surprised that Nintendo went in on a new property like this, and I don't know how well it turned out for them in terms of sales, but it's definitely one of the most creative games on the system. No other game that I've noticed kind of works quite like this. I don't even know what genre to consider it. Is it like a strategy game? I don't have as many fond memories with it as a lot of these other games, but I think it's a pretty fucking great game, and I'm kind of ashamed I never got to try it with the Wii motion controls, because I hear that makes it a lot better. You can essentially use Mario Party 7 as a stand-in for all the GameCube Mario parties. Mario Party, always a fun time. Kind of gets repetitive after a little while, at least with some of the newer ones, but these ones were great. I loved a lot of the GameCube ones. Never owned the microphone, so I remember Mario Party 7 had the giant mountain stage where you had to like climb all the way up to the top, and then the amount of coins you need at the end changes depending on how many people reach the top. Very fun. A lot of good memories with this. Probably going to put it down here in C tier, though. I don't know. Mario Party is never really the go-to party game for me and my friends. It's usually we go to that one after we go to something like Jackbox Party Pack, or we play Smash for a little bit, or we play Mario Kart. We never go straight to Mario Party. It's usually something we have to kind of work through other games to get to. Oh, Animal Crossing. Looking at a game never makes me as sad as looking at this one. Something about these old-ass graphics just really scratches some itch in the back of my head. And I feel like I am very nostalgia blind for saying that if I had to choose between playing this one, New Leaf, or New Horizons right now, yeah, it would be pretty difficult to pick, actually. I've played pretty much every game in the Animal Crossing series, I think except for Wild World, but I did play City Folk on the Wii, and of course New Leaf and New Horizons. Something about this one, again, I don't know what it is. Something about how simplistic it is. Something about the fact that you can't really do much changing to your town. You're just a normal villager, kind of just living out your life. Can't fucking explain it. I genuinely can't, but this one definitely goes up an A. Because it's one of the few games I actually shared with my sister. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is the first game I ever actually watched a Let's Play of. I love Paper Mario. It's one of my favorite turn-based RPGs because of the whole action command sort of gameplay mechanic where you have to kind of actively be participating to avoid damage, deal more damage, that sort of thing. It really is a shame that later games in the series kind of dropped off in quality. I did play Super Paper Mario though, and that one was actually pretty fun too. Just a very different experience. Fuck. Someone's gonna show up, skip through the video to the end, and they're gonna be like, why the fuck is there a SpongeBob game over Paper Mario? Pokemon has always been one of my favorite things. Like, period. As I said earlier with Pokémon Channel, any sort of taste of three-dimensional Pokemon I could get was pretty neat, and I remember this game being really fun. I actually really enjoyed the alternate take on capturing Pokemon. The whole, you have to steal other people's Pokemon. That was pretty interesting. Some of the human character models look weird though, but I really can't hold that against this game, because that's 99% of the time that's not what you're looking at. You know how we were talking about muted colors earlier and how a lot of these games kind of fall into that category? Well, here's the exact fucking opposite. After Ocarina of Time, going into Wind Waker, it was such a stylistic shift, and I mean, I guess I came into it after the fact, so I wasn't there for a lot of the initial outrage, but I'm pretty happy to hear that a lot of people have warmed up to Wind Waker's visuals. When I think of classic Zelda experience, I don't think of Ocarina of Time, I think of Wind Waker. I love how much more mobile Link feels in this game as compared to Ocarina of Time. The visuals and music are both fucking amazing. That opening theme, when I heard it again in the credits, oh my god, I was so fucking sad. I wanted to play this game so much more. Definitely goes up in S tier, absolutely. Metroid Prime is amazing, but I didn't play it when I was younger. And on a list like this, where personal bias is the name of the game, that's a bit of a killer. Not so much where I would put it anywhere below A, but I don't know where I would put it amongst these games. I recently ran all the way through Super Metroid, and it's a fantastic game, but I was like, okay, I want to see how this is translated into 3D. I play Metroid Prime, it just blew Super Metroid out of the water. I'm sorry. I'm the sort of person who loves collecting information in games. Like in Smash Melee and Brawl, where you have all these fucking trophies with like a little bit of tidbits of information about the characters and games that they come from. I love that shit. And Metroid Prime has that for every single item and enemy in the game. I can't stop myself from scanning things in this game. People might complain about the backtracking and whatnot. It's not too big of an issue for me. Sometimes I get a little bit turned around, but I don't know. It's generally such a well thought out experience, and it has such an interesting lore behind it, and God, it's just so atmospheric. That's the shit that everybody says about Metroid, but God, it's fucking true. For games released around this time, I would honestly put it on par with like Half-Life and Half-Life 2, but it is very fresh in my mind because I did play it recently, so we have to take this with a bit of a grain of salt. It definitely belongs over Pokémon XD, though. If you're a Mario fan, I want you to close your eyes and think about which Mario game would you play right now if you had the chance. Some of you might be thinking Mario 64. Some of you might be thinking Mario Odyssey. For my money, it's honestly Super Mario Galaxy. But then it's also Super Mario Sunshine. This game is janky as fuck, but it kind of makes it fun. I've beaten this game more times than I can count. I love the way Mario moves in it. I know a lot of people say he feels kind of like, you know, jerky, like you're either running full sprint or you're just standing still. I didn't really ever find that to be a problem. I fucking love Flood, man. Out of all the Mario gimmicks that he's had, like the Luma, where he can do the spin thing in the air, the Cappy, I will always prefer Flood because of how versatile it is. It's one of my favorite games to watch speedruns of, seriously. Just the way that people break this game is amazing. And I don't really know if I can use, well, no, it's my list. I can use whatever the fuck I want as reasoning. It's just a game that fills me with so many good emotions, honestly. It's satisfying to jump around. It's fun to use Flood to slide and to attack enemies with. Everything is part of Isle Delfino, and it all connects in a certain way. And I really love that. And the game's visuals and music are both fantastic. Mario Sunshine has to go in S tier. I can't not have it up there. It's just, I know that game front to back. I know pretty much all of these games up here in S tier front to back. And a few of them down in A, but still. Mario Sunshine, my love for that game has transcended the game itself, and watching like speedruns and everything, going on Twitch and just kind of lurking on streams, it's fucking fun. I love seeing the way that people will play this game. Speaking of going beyond the game, here's the one I think a lot of you were waiting for. Here's a little fun fact before I actually start talking about Melee. I played this game before I played any of the other games on this list. And I swear to God, that's true. The only character whose existence I knew of before Smash was Mario. I played Link in Smash because I thought he just looked cool. I had no attachment to The Legend of Zelda. Melee was the game that got me to play Zelda. It got me to play Pokemon. It got me to play Kirby. This is the game that sold me on Nintendo. I mean, I think the game looks great. It sounds great. But I can only talk about the game for so long before I talk about the competitive side of shit. And I'll admit it. For a few years there, I did play competitive Melee. I ended up traveling to different states and shit to play this game, and I met a lot of really cool people through it, and I can't separate those experiences from the game itself. I genuinely can't. The ways in which Nintendo has kind of tried to keep down this competitive community is honestly one of its cardinal sins over the past decade and a half. Melee is truly the fighting game that will never die, and if I don't put it in S, not only would I be pissing off a lot of people, but I would also be lying to myself. Even beyond the competitive shit. Like, I wasn't even good at competitive Melee, but just the collection of characters and all of the trophies and the information you could get, it was just, it all just hit the right buttons. I'm gonna go back through and reorder a few of these things real quick.